Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is CB Harris. Today we're going to take a look at this. These are striker springs from Strike Industries, and this is for your Glock handgun. Now this is a set of springs. You get 4 springs with this, and typically when you get a set of springs, you put all the springs in there to do whatever it is it says. This comes with 4 different striker springs. You choose which one you want, or you could put it in 4 different handguns and get different effects based on which spring you use. So what you get a 4, a 4.5, a 5, and a 6-pound spring. Now, as a comparison, a Glock comes with a 5.5-pound spring, and that's the one Glock recommends you use is a 5.5-pound spring. Obviously, for liability purposes, that's what they're going to tell you, and they want you to use a stock part. But these things are very useful. So what you get, your 4-pound spring, very useful for competition. It's going to lighten the trigger just a little bit. It's still going to be reliable. It's going to reliably strike a primer. It's not going to have any issues with that. I haven't done any long-term tests, but it hasn't had any issues so far. The 4.5 and 5-pound, that's going to be kind of more of a duty trigger. It's still going to be a little bit lighter than your stock trigger is going to be, but it's still going to be pretty good for that. The 4.5-pound you could probably use for competition as well. Now the 6-pound is going to be a little bit heavier. And the reason you would want something like that, if you want that added layer of security of a stiffer trigger, a little bit more safety on a carry gun. So that would be its purpose. Again, it's going to be very reliable. It's probably going to even strike the primer a little bit harder, so a little bit more reliable. So let's take a look at these and let's see how they get installed. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need to do, we're going to need to clear this out. Okay, there is no magazine, it is clear, and then we're going to disassemble it. We can just set this part aside because we're not going to mess with that at all. We're messing with the striker. So let's get to that point. Now this is also from Strike Industries. I have a video about that. I will put a video up here so you guys can check that out as well. This is a toolless slide plate, so it just comes right off of there. So now we just take the striker out, and now at this point we need to remove these. These are the little plastic cups that hold the spring in place. So you can use this, the back of the slide as kind of a jig to hold everything in place. Pull down on the spring and then remove these pieces. Don't lose those pieces, as obviously you need those. And you also want to keep a good hold of your spring so it doesn't go flying across the room, doesn't put your eye out or anything like that. And it's very simple to replace the spring. You have your 4, 4.5, 5, and 6-pound, and they each have their own little spot there. And that helps you just to make sure that you know which one you're going to get. We're going to put the 4-pound trigger in. Again, we can use the back here. It's kind of a jig. It's a little trickier to put these cups back into place. What you really need to do is make sure you have them available. They're really close and handy. Pull down on the trigger spring, and I use my other finger here, I don't know if you can see that, to hold the first one in place while I get the second one in, and then slowly ease up on that spring until it's in. Then reassembly, simple as sliding the striker back into place, getting your slide plate and getting it kind of put into position there. You want to push down on your striker. Then you will need to push down on your extractor spring, and then it should just snap right in. After we're done with that, put our barrel in, put our guide rod and spring assembly back in, attach our upper and lower halves. I always do a function check, so I will rack the slide, pull the trigger and hold it to the rear, rack the slide and release. As you hear the reset, pull the trigger again, and it should function. So you can do this a couple of times just to make sure everything is working, but that's it. Alright, so some of the things that I like about these springs, I think you end up with an amazing value. It's $13.95. You get the 4 springs. You could modify 4 different Glocks if you have them. It's not going to work on your Glock 42 or your 43, but any of the other handguns from Glock, it's going to work just fine. I also like the fact that it really does what it says. Okay, if you put a different one in, you can tell the feel of the trigger is different. It feels either lighter or heavier depending on which spring you put in. It definitely does exactly what it advertises they'll do. Now, if there were one thing that I would improve about it, really I wouldn't say that this is a bad thing, but I would color code these. If I were the company, I'd color code them, because if you dump these all out, you really can't tell the difference. Now, you could probably feel and eventually figure out which one is which, but if they were color-coded, it would be very simple. Just look at it, figure out which color it is and which weight that corresponds with. So if there were anything I were going to change, that would be it. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, it is always appreciated when you like and share the videos. And be sure to check out, these are again, the Striker springs for a Glock handgun from Strike Industries. As always, I will put a link down below. If you are not a subscriber and you want to see more videos like this, more gear and equipment and accessory type of videos, find that subscribe button down below, give it a big old click, and then come back and watch another review video. Remember that your mind, that is your most important tool, and it is vital to be armed with information. Until next time, take care and be safe. Charlie Bravo, out.